Hello, you are listening to Disney Travel Tales, episode number 20. This is a space where you can escape the real world and immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny, and today I am talking to Laura all about her amazing trip to Hawaii, where she stayed at the Disney Aulani Resort and Spa. Her husband and her were celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary. Not only do we talk all about Aulani, but we also focus on their Hawaiian adventures. This is such a fun episode and will definitely have you dreaming of a beach vacation. Visit our Instagram page at Disney Travel Tales to see pictures from Laura and her family's Hawaiian vacation. This show is sponsored by Trolley Lane Travel and owner Becky Abruzzetti. Fun fact, Laura is an agent at Trolley Lane Travel. If you are thinking about traveling to any Disney resort or a Disney cruise, then having a travel agent is the way to go. Not only will they save you time, but also money. The best part is all of their services are complimentary to you when you plan a trip with one of their awesome agents. Go to their website at trolleylanetravel.com and their Request a Quote page to get a free, no-obligation quote. Sometimes people assume that a Disney trip is out of budget for them, but you might be surprised. Get an agent to work up a quote for you to see if a Disney vacation is in your family's future. You can also visit them on Facebook and Instagram at Trolley Lane Travel LLC. When you plan a vacation with them and want to be on the show, let your agent know. This is how I get my guest. Okay, so let's get started. Imagine yourself sitting by the lazy river at Aulani with a delicious cold drink in your hand, and let's go. Okay, so hi Laura, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm so excited to hear about your special trip you took.
Hi, it's so great to talk to you too. I'm so excited I got to take it. I'm ready to take another trip. Can never have too much vacation time, right?
No way. It's the vacation bug.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Disney vacations?
So I'm a mother of two. I'm married. Me and my husband are high school sweethearts. We've been together since I was 14. And so came from a large family. So I never really got to go to Disney. But I was obsessed with it, like the TV shows and the movies and all of that. And it was my dream to go to Disney. And so then when I finally became an adult and had my own adult money, I could afford to go. And then it was just I was hooked. I think I was probably 19 when I went the first time I went to Disneyland, me and my sister, and I just caught the bug and I was just oh my God, this is just everything. There's something magical. It makes me, you feel like a child again, I guess. And so ever since then, we went to Disneyland probably once a year. We were young and broke. But probably 6 years ago or so, we really got hooked on Disney World. And it's a trip me and my family, we would take a couple times a year. And now I'm a travel agent who does Disney vacations, and I probably go once a month. And I would say that really started for me, before I became an agent, in 2018, I made a promise to myself I was going to start doing more things for myself because, we're parents and moms especially, we put ourselves aside, and I decided I'm going to travel once a month for fun and pleasure, just either by myself, with my friends, with my family, whatever. And I noticed I just kept going more and more to Disney, sometimes with my family, sometimes with my friends, sometimes by myself. I would even I'm you've never been to Disney? Oh my God, I have to take you. And I just started taking everyone on their first Disney trip. I'm come on, you love it too. So yeah, I've been doing Disney, God, for forever. I don't want to talk about how old I am, but for a very long time. And right now I have a 13-year-old and a 23-year-old. And my 13-year-old really likes it. My 23-year-old's at that age. He doesn't come as often, maybe once a year. But my 13-year-old is always down for a trip. And we like to just go. And he's a big ride person. So, but it's always been a dream, to go to Aulani. I mean, actually, I want to go to all the parks. I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go to all the places. But I felt Hawaii is the closest one. So let's start there. So I'd been telling my husband for a long time, I really wanted to go. And we had a 25th wedding anniversary coming up. And so, you never know what to get each other. And so I was like, I want to go to Hawaii. And he's like, well, why don't we go to Aulani? I was just like, oh my God, it's like, you know me so well. And so it was, what was it, in like May? So our anniversary is September 15th. And it was in May when we were talking about it. And I booked it in May and we just made it happen. And I'm really glad we did. I'm so glad we did. We actually ended up, originally it was just going to be us because it's our 25th wedding anniversary. But Mom Gil kicked in. And so we brought my 13-year-old because he's just like, I want to go to Hawaii. And it's like, okay, I mean, I guess I'll have plenty of time. One day he won't want to come. So especially with my older child, I realized just how true that is. So I was just like, yeah, let's just all go. And we had a really good time, and I'm so grateful that we did it. Actually,
that's awesome. That's so awesome. What a great. I loved everything you said. I loved the part about finally being like, I need to take care of myself. That can ring true, I think, to every parent out there, especially moms.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's fun. When you're on a plane and they're like, put your own mask on before your kids for oxygen and we just forget that all the time. And I still struggle with some mom guilt. But I remember telling people like, yeah, I'm going to do some stuff for me. And a lot of times they're like, really, what about your kids? And I'm like, my kids need me to be like mentally in a good place. And for me, traveling and taking these vacations that's what does it for me. Even if it's just, I could go for a weekend, like a Friday to Sunday, and it just recharges me. And I can see the difference in myself. Like with, COVID and lockdown, I couldn't obviously travel, and I could just see the change in how it just felt and how I felt. I'm like, I just need that. And so I'm so glad that, I'm back up and traveling.
Oh, it's so great. Travel is back. That was like such a sad time for so many reasons, but the fact that no one could go anywhere, like literally anywhere, that was tough.
That was hard for me.
Yeah. So I am so glad things are at least opening up a little bit and we can travel. Yay.
Yeah, I feel that.
Okay. So what dates did y'all travel?
So we traveled, we left on September 11th, which actually happens to be my birthday. And we returned on September 18th.
Okay.
Everyone thought I was crazy to like travel on my birthday, but our anniversary is the 15th of September. And it just, I don't know, timeline, it worked. And just because I love to travel, I was like, that is just such a me thing to do. I'm just going to fly on my birthday and then my birthday will end in Hawaii. That's magic for me. I mean, it was exhausting because I'm in Colorado. So it was a 10.5 hour flight. We had to do a layover. Well, the flight we had a layover in California. And it was a very long day. And it was kind of weird though, because my son pointed it out. He was like, hey, with the time difference, Mom, this is your longest birthday. Like you actually had like 28 hours for your birthday instead of 24. And I'm just like, okay, it sounds exhausting, first of all, but like, that is kind of cool. So, so it was, what was that? 8 days? It's such a blur.
Yeah.
And it was me, husband, and then our 13-year-old son who went, and we flew Southwest. And then I don't remember the flight time, but we had a layover in California, both ways. Which was actually kind of a godsend in a way, because then you could get up freely, like around and stuff. And we got really lucky on the flight to Hawaii from San Jose. That's where it was. And it was like 100 people were on it. And so they're telling us as we board, okay, guys, there's like 100 people. Space out. Like there's enough. Everyone could have their own row. But I don't know what it is. People just didn't listen or something. And you're boarding and everyone's congregating to the front and they're like, no, we really need you to space out. Do you think they really mean we get to have a whole row? I'm like, I guess. So that's exactly what we did. We spaced out and it was really nice to just put your legs up and have a whole row that never happens on a flight ever.
That's absolutely amazing. Like, I think that has to be a dream travel scenario, especially for a long flight. Like, when does that ever happen?
Right. And it happened on the way back too. So
Oh
I
my
don't know if,
gosh.
not a lot of people were going to Hawaii at, September. I don't know that that's a peak time necessarily
Hmm.
for Hawaii. So I was just like, well, that's amazing. For me, that was like, oh, that's just, there's nothing like having space on an airplane, and I
Oh
love my
yeah.
kid and my husband, but I'm just like, yeah, you guys have your own space. I want my own row, put my legs up. And it was nice. It's
That
probably
is
one of the,
crazy.
usually you're so drained, but I
Hmm.
didn't feel like that on that flight. My son,
Yeah.
my son, he just used it as a bed.
Oh yeah.
It was great for him.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm a little bit jealous. I've had one flight like that, but it wasn't that long of a flight, but it was still like the best flight of my life.
Yeah, I've only had it probably 4 times, and like 2 of them were when I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
Now I think they're just so efficient with how they book.
Hmm.
It just never happens. So it's always nice. You're always happy when you're like, oh, look, we have a middle seat. Yay. And I was just like, oh, bro, like, I don't even know what to do with myself. Definitely felt like a child or something that was given a little treat. I loved it.
That's so cool. Okay, so how far in advance did you start planning this vacation?
So I really didn't plan too far in advance. I know a lot of people will plan like a Hawaii trip for a year, but I literally it was May 5th. I remember because it was like a holiday weekend or something. And it was just a decision we made. At the time, there was a deal too. Disney was doing, I want to say 40% off or something. And so I just felt like, oh, my husband said, let's do it. And it's on sale. The stars aligned and let's book now. And I think also because, we're coming off 2020, there isn't a ton of travel, and Hawaii specifically has a lot of, things in place where not everyone's going. So I didn't even think I needed extra time, honestly.
Yeah.
We did the least amount of planning for this trip than I've done for like any other trip, which most kind of was because I was just like, feeling a little lazy. I just wanted a relaxation trip. I was like,
Right.
used to Disney World, and a lot of planning goes into that. And I love that, but it was nice to not have something that was that much planning. So, but it was plenty of time. I didn't feel like rushed or anything like that. I mean, that's 4 months.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But I think that's good to know too, because I think a lot of people also, when they think about these vacations, they think I need to book a year in advance or I won't be able to. So it's nice. And I know times are different right now with travel and they might be changing, but I bet I bet you don't have to book a year in advance.
No, I just think a lot of, maybe people do that for budgetary reasons
Hmm.
too. And for me, like, the fun of travel, a large percentage of it is planning and is being excited for that trip, right? You're like, you spend like all this time like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm doing this. So that's probably part of it too.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would say some of my best vacations were last minute. And this was kind of last minute because a lot of
Hmm.
people are going to Hawaii in that short amount of time. And there's just, there is something to be, there's like this whole aloha lifestyle, and you really don't need planning. Everyone's just chilling, laid back. So
Yeah,
it's the
that's
perfect
true.
kind of place to go and not have everything planned.
Hmm. That's very true. And it's the beach. It's Hawaii. If anything, just go lay out by the water.
At the end of the day, it's Hawaii. So like, yeah, what are you going to say?
Right. Okay, so a little bit just about Aulani. Online it says that it's a Disney resort and spa. It's on the island of Oahu in the beaches of Ko'olina. Yeah, and it was designed by Walt Disney Imagineers. They worked with local artisans to create a cultural experience. So when y'all got there, what was your first impression of the resort?
So when we got there, we rented a car because I knew I'd want to, do other stuff. And you could actually, it actually started with the exit for me. The exit off the highway, you could see the greenery almost. We kept saying that the greenery changed and everything was greener. And like, I don't even know how that's possible in Hawaii, but it was. And you could just see all the flowers and stuff. And you just felt like, wow, I'm like going into this secret place that everything is just beautiful. And then, so we pulled up and into the resort. and it's very different. It has its own unique style, because there are some other hotels in the area, but they have that very like, Marriott or Four Seasons feel, but you could just tell, you're like, wow, that one looks different. And it really fit in the whole Hawaiian feel of everything. So it just, I don't know, it was like, kind of like magical. It was just amazing. It was just breathtaking. I was like, oh my God, I just can't believe this is where we're going to be for 8 whole days. And then, so we pull in and whatever, and then we walk in, and I remember like, so you walk in the front door, and everything's windows, and it's all blue, and you walk in, and you just see this view it's just right there, and there's the ocean and the trees, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And you can walk right to a balcony and then you can see the pool, and the lagoons and everything, and it's just breathtaking. You're like, wow, I'm so glad. Like, everything, all your stress just kind of goes away, because you're just like, this is the most beautiful place I have ever been. I really thought
magical.
It just felt amazing. And I really liked that you could tell that they were going, there wasn't as much, like, it wasn't a huge, like, when you look at the resort, it wasn't like a Disney feel. It was like a Hawaiian feel, which I really liked. They were trying to be true and to the culture, which is really important in Hawaii. And so, yeah, I was like, I can't believe we get to stay here.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to go.
Yeah, it was, I'm still like looking through our photos and just like, oh, it was crazy. It was kind of like, there was like, it was a mix between like relaxed and fast paced. Like, you were like, I'm in this tropical beachy pooly. It was just all these things. Ugh.
So were there like characters there? What about the resort gave it the Disney feel?
So I would just like, me and my son, I would describe it as like Disney light. So it's not like in your face. And I think some of it is because everything's not fully open right now, or at least when I went to, so some of the things are closed, and they have some really strict COVID protocols. So there were no characters like meeting you or greeting you. And there wasn't an overwhelming like Disney vibe when you first walk in. It was more like you had to kind of look for it. Like, they have all of this art we found this out while we were there, but like, we were walking up and down, and we noticed just this huge art collection. And apparently it's like the world's largest Hawaiian art collection in the world. I didn't know that. But you could see the colors were very reminiscent for me of Disney. And of course they had their Disney store. And so like I don't know if you know, but like hidden Mickeys is a huge thing, right, in Disney World. So they kind of have their own version. They have these hidden statues that are hidden all over the resort. And I forget what they're called. Like, I'm really bad at pronouncing Hawaiian names, so I'm going to apologize to everyone right now in advance. I think it's called like Manahana or something. My husband's so much better at pronouncing all that. But there are 300 of these hidden statues all over. And so it was like this cute little game. And so for me, it was like, yeah, it wasn't Mickey, but it was that, that vibe of Disney, how they have all those little hidden things. There were some characters out at the pool, and they had a lawn area where you can do physically distanced, like photos and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, if you didn't know it was Disney and you just walked in, you might not have even known it was necessarily a Disney resort. They were really going for, and I appreciated it actually. They were really going for that Hawaiian feel. And I think they really did it nicely. And as you kind of dig in, you walk around the resort in the pool area, you saw like there was Lilo and Stitch, right? There's statues and stuff. And there's also merchandise. And then there's like, an area where you can make your own ears and stuff. And you could see all the little nuances of Disney. And then of course I think they call them cast members there too. They kind of had that, that just nice vibe that you only get. Like, for me, there's something different about a Disney hotel, and a lot of times it comes down to those cast members who are just amazing and so friendly, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you can just feel that these are like Disney cast members and not regular hotel staff. So yeah, that's how I'm like, it's Disney light, so it's not like in your face. So if you're not looking for it, you might not see it, but if you really like Disney, then you're like, oh, look, it's right. You can see it there and feel it there. And so I thought it was a really nice way to blend like the Hawaiian culture of like relaxed vibe and then still make sure you get some of your like Disney fanatical stuff in there as well.
I think that's really awesome, especially for families. If maybe some of the people aren't super into Disney and they're like, I don't want to go to Hawaii and go to Disney. That's like really good. Yeah, I think that's awesome. That it's just a touch of Disney for the people who love it.
Hey parents, do your kids listen to podcasts? Do they like solving mysteries and flexing their imaginations? Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is a new children's mystery podcast. Your kid can join Billy Bonanza and Susie Sockington on exciting and wacky adventures as they attempt to solve mysteries around their school. Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is available now on all podcast platforms.
Yeah, and I would say, like, talking to people, I always make friends in the pool and hot tubs. It's just like a thing I do. And that was kind of the whole thing. Everyone was like, yeah, I just love how it's like, you know, when you go to the Disney World and that it's very much Disney fast paced, but here you still had just a little bit. It was all about that relaxation too. And so it's hard to have all those bright colors and stuff if you're trying to get people relaxed.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was a COVID thing or not, but like I didn't see Moana anywhere, and I'm just like, I just felt like that was like a missed opportunity, and I'm not sure again if it was just because of COVID. It might have been something that's closed right now. But that's the only like one character I would have been kind of perfect to see in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even though I know it's Hawaii, she's from sort of, or Maui. I would have loved to see. Like The Rock, that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah, that would be really amazing.
Yeah, that would be worth it. Like, okay, we're just going to leave here now.
Okay, so let's talk about your room. What type of room did y'all have?
So we were in a one-bedroom suite, and I'm going to butcher the name again. It was on the Waianae Tower. So they've got like two towers. If you look at a photo of Aulani, it's kind of in the shape of a horseshoe. And so they've got, I don't even know what differentiates the towers except the names. I think they all have a mix of all the room types. But we'd gotten an upgrade, I think because they just weren't very busy. So we went to check in. You can check in online, but it's not like as efficient as like Disney World per se, because you can't, like, the magic hands and stuff don't work. So you still have to go and get a room key. So when I went to check in, they said, I think they even used the term pixie dust, that we'd gotten upgraded. And I was like, woohoo, everyone loves a free upgrade, right?
Yes.
So we walked in the room and I loved that. So the one bedroom suite, it had like a full kitchen. So we had a stove and a fridge, and I thought the weirdest thing to me was they have a rice cooker of all the things, that did. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. So of course we made rice. But so it was one bedroom. You walk in and everyone, I think every room has its own balcony, and our balcony just had a breathtaking view where you could see the pool area, but you could also see the ocean and the lagoon. And it was like, we could see everything. And I just thought it was a really perfect place. And we were I think the 5th or 6th floor. So we were high enough up that we could actually like see the ocean in the distance. And so I really liked it, took a ton of photos, of course, off of it. And we hung out actually on that balcony a lot, just because we're like enjoying the view. So what else? So it had a kitchen area. There was a pull-out bed. So you could have done the pull-out bed of the couch. They also had one of those pull-outs in like under the TV area. I don't even know what those are called, or sofa things. So really, we could have slept like probably 5 in there. It was probably more than 3 of us needed, but it was nice because we had our own separate room, and our son had his own separate space, and he does online school, so he had to do some school while we were in Hawaii. So it was nice. He had the kitchen area for that and stuff too. So we all really appreciated the space. And that is actually, we found a couple of Disney things there. So there was this lamp, and it had Mickey. Mickey was like the post of the lamp. Some people have said, and I couldn't find it in our duvet, but some of the blankets must have hidden Mickeys, and we were really trying to find them, but I didn't see anything like that. But yeah, it was still, I think the Mickey was probably the only real like, oh, this is a Disney room that you would have really noticed. But it was really big. It was nice. It had a huge tub that, of course, I didn't even end up using because that's how it always goes. But yeah, and it was so nice. I would say it was like, if you look at it, was probably considered one of their DVC rooms, I imagine. So if someone was like looking it up, that's what I would check out.
Okay.
But it was perfect sense.
Yeah, because it is a DVC villa. So they have DVC rooms plus just regular. You can just get regular suites and then regular hotel rooms, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah. Yes, because we actually, I did some tours of some of the other rooms. And so we got lucky and they showed us their presidential suite, or I don't even know what they call it. But yeah, and it was like, oh my God, talk about breathtaking. I was like, yeah, I need to get 10 of my closest friends here so we can like rent this out.
Yes. That's so fun. I love seeing those fancy rooms in hotels. It's like, wow.
One of these days, right? One of these days I'll stay here.
That's so cool. So your first day, I'm assuming, was just pretty much a travel day and then checking in and kind of getting familiar with the resort.
So it should have been, but because I'm a glutton for punishment, I booked the luau. Well, it was my birthday too, so I booked the luau for that night.
Oh, fun!
We actually did. So we got in, unpacked, kind of breathed for just about a minute, and then we had the luau that was there on site, which was the food was amazing. It didn't even look like food. The colors, it was so pretty. So it was a little, I'm assuming, different than pre-COVID. There was no like buffet style, but it was like an all you care to eat, and they brought you all the food and everything, and they had their show. And that's when they did actually have the characters come out at some point during the show too. But yeah, it was probably like, it was a very long day. It was all you can drink, adult beverages as well, which was really nice and what a lot of luau's are known for.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a really, really long day because I told my family, like, oh yeah, we have a luau tonight. They're like, we have a luau tonight? What? I was just like, yeah, it was the only one I could get because they weren't doing luau's, and then they opened them up. And it was very limited capacity and stuff. So for our time frame, it was the only one I can get. I'm like, well, at least we'll be it's fine. So, but I would recommend it. It was because it was right on site. You just walked on down. You could actually, if you're staying there and you're on one of the lower levels and you're right in that area, you can watch it. I mean, there are some people who are like, oh yeah, we saw it every night from our room. I mean, I guess it might get old, but I thought it was fun.
That's really cool. Oh, wow. How fun. Yeah, I've heard that luau is really great.
It is. They have the fire dancing, and, they all tell stories. And I think the way they spaced it too, because sometimes it just, like, you eat all your food and then they do it at the end, but they didn't do it that way. It was like you had a course and they gave you a little of it, and then you had another course and a little. So I thought the timing was done really well. So you could, not be like, okay, I'm stuffed, I need to leave. It was timed pretty well. That's
really cool. So then what'd y'all do after the luau?
We were tired. We went to the beach, I think, and took some photos, but then we basically crashed because that time change was kind of rough for us. It's a 4-hour difference. So yeah, it snuck up on us there. Yes. Our third kind of done.
I can imagine. Sometimes just an hour time change sneaks up on you. 4 hours, that's a lot.
Yeah. But I was glad we did it that way.
Yeah. It's like a great way to welcome yourself to Hawaii.
Yeah, it was. It really made you feel like, okay, I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah. Okay, so what'd y'all do on your second day?
So our second day, mostly because the travel day and the luau, it was just like a resort and pool relaxation day. So we kind of became familiar with the resort, and they have, oh my gosh, they have so many pools that I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I think we did end up getting to all of them. We spent a lot of time at the pool, and they also have so I would call it a private beach, but it's not because all beaches in Hawaii are public. But because of where it's located, I think it just doesn't get used a lot by the public. And so it's like a man-made cove that they have there. So you could actually we could go to the pool, and there was some seating where you could be looking in the pool and also at the beach. So we kind of just did a little of all of that. I really liked the cove because there wasn't, so it's not for everyone. Like, you're trying to surf, you can't do that there.
Mm-hmm.
But the waves aren't coming at you. So it's really perfect for just kind of relaxing, maybe paddle boarding or something like that. And the beach is just like immaculate. It was beautiful. They act the perfect spot. They have an adult hot tub, and right at sunset, and I guess I think it opens for sunrise and sunset. It's like an infinity hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
And so view of the beach. And if you just kind of like lined it up right, it would just felt like you were kind of like, oh, I'm in the beach in this warm hot tub. It was such a pretty view. And it was kind of nice that it was an adults only too.
Yeah.
Because that was the only area that actually was, apparently they used to have an adults only pool, but that hadn't been opened yet. But they have like this whole lazy river. And then we didn't really utilize it, but there's like a kids area where it's like you're on a bridge, and, they've got all the water squirting and things like that. We mostly were in the regular kind of pool. And then we were also in the lazy river a lot. And on the lazy river, they have this bridge, and that's where you could see some characters too. So while you're on the lazy river, it's like, oh, there's Goofy or Mickey or Minnie, the Fab Five, basically. But yeah, we spent the whole day there. They have a ton of food options. They have this shaved ice. So, we ordered our food from the pool area, but there was also a shaved ice spot where it was really tasty, and you could get like little Mickey ears added, of course. So those were kind of like that was another one of the, oh, look, there's the Disney kind of feel of it. And it had the craziest flavors too. It wasn't just like, cherry and raspberry.
Mm-hmm.
They were the weirdest combination, and you could get like 4 or 5 flavors, and you have to, I would say, get there early in the heat of like the afternoon. The line gets a little long.
Yeah.
And then we also kind of checked out some of the activities that they have. So a lot of, like I said, some things are closed. We wouldn't have used it because of my son's age, but there was something called Aunties, which is included in the resort, and it's kind of like a place you can drop your kids off, and they have activities and stuff there. I know that it's really popular. It's I think it was like 4 to 12, so we wouldn't have used it anyway. They also do free ukulele lessons. There's a place you can go to make your own Mickey ears, which is fun. They have, because we just kind of explored that whole day, we found that there was, you could go to the front desk and get this iPad and do this like little like nature hunt, I think they called it. You were basically just going to all these places in the resort and like, finding it almost like a scavenger hunt. And then we didn't, that day, we literally just kind of ate at the pool, spent the day in the pool and in the sun. And I did notice, because sometimes when you go to a resort, like, sometimes it's hard to get seating at the pool area. And we didn't have that problem at all because we were so exhausted. I don't think we got up to like 11. Mm-hmm. And there was plenty of seating. We were able to find a place to put all of our stuff and towels and things. And there were still empty chairs and stuff. So they definitely have like enough seating, because that's always a concern. And I could see, and in the beach area was the same. They have seating and shaded areas that you could use as well. And I never saw that it was crowded and like you couldn't get a spot. So that was really nice. But we just kind of vegged out that whole day, and it was nice. I think we really needed it. That's what you go to Hawaii for, is to relax.
That sounds so nice.
Yeah.
So what was the weather like?
I think when it's Hawaii, it's like always 80s, right? And perfect. It was a little overcast while we were there, so there was definitely sun. Like, make sure to bring your sunblock, because the only sunblock you can get there is the reef type, which, like, I have very, very fair complexion, like a redheaded complexion. And so I have to really make sure, like, I put my sunblock on, I'm wearing a hat all the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the sun, even when it was overcast, it was still, you could feel the sun coming down constantly, but it wasn't like, humid or like miserable like that. Mm-hmm. It was just nice because you had this breeze going too. But it was definitely like 80s, and I would say like partly cloudy, or at least where we were, because that island, it's apparently, I didn't know this, but like there's a rainforest there. There's all these different climates. So you could just drive 30 minutes and then the weather is a little bit different. So, but for that resort area, it was just always sunny.
That's so interesting. So what was the like ocean water like temperature wise and stuff?
Like, I mean, I don't know why I was surprised, but it was pretty warm. I mean, not like hot tub warm, but kind of heated pool warm. Like it was, yeah. And there was actually, there was a ton of fish in it because we spent a lot of time in the lagoon area at Aulani specifically. And I'm assuming the fish just come there. I don't think that they like plant them there. Right. But yeah, you could see all these little fishes and stuff, and the kids are like, playing with them and stuff. No turtles. But that's probably better for the turtles. But it was just nice and warm, and the sand wasn't like rough. It was just like a really soft sand. It actually reminded me of there's the Yacht and Beach Club's pool. They had a sand pool. It reminded me of that. But yeah, it was really clean and warm and nice. And I mean, it was September, right? So like, I was like, oh, I can't believe it. I would expect it to be like a little dreary, but it really wasn't. It was just like every day was just the same. Like you could look it up every day for the next month, 80s and sunny every single day.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that's the way to live, man.
Oh yeah. And that's nice that the water's warm, because I don't like going to the ocean and the water's so cold it's hard to get into.
Yes, when you just put your toe in, you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then, or even you can tell too, because sometimes when the kids are like, no, it's too cold for even me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like that. We literally just, because that day we just walked right there. I mean, I think I still had my regular clothes on. I didn't even have my swimming suit on. And my husband got this really cute picture. But yeah, you could just walk in it. Even at night, like when we would go out, a lot of people weren't there, but because of our schedule, it was so off.
Yeah.
Really late. And so we were just down by the beach, and it's like, 11 o'clock at night, and it's still warm. It wasn't like cold. You would think it would have gotten colder. It didn't feel cold to me at all. I was like, oh, except it's dangerous because it's dark. I'd love to just jump in there.
Right. That sounds so nice. Oh, sounds so magical. So do you have anything else you want to say about y'all's second day?
It was a blur. It was just really relaxing and being at the pool. I would say that is like one of the big draws too. All the pools that they have an infinity pool. They've got several hot tub areas. They've got the lazy river, and they've got like this cove and so many different hot tubs. Like you have to spend some time just like in the pool and the hot tub area, and that's part of the fun of like going to a resort.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it feels like you're like, really, you just hung out at the pool? Yeah, but it really went by quick. You're like, well, that was a quick day.
Yeah.
Like, all we did was hang out by the pool. There's so much to do around there. At nighttime, they had this, they called him Uncle. I guess that's a thing, like in Hawaii. All your friends are like, the older adults are auntie and uncle. And so Uncle would come out, and it's like, 8 o'clock at the pool, the sun's down, and he's playing his ukulele and telling songs and singing right at the pool. Which was really kind of cool. It happened every night, but we weren't there for it every night. But we were that one because we stayed till they were like, okay, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So yeah, we just kind of hung out, and we just enjoyed ourselves and relaxed, which was much needed. I think everyone should do that in the beginning. The first day, it's just like get everything off me and like let's just enjoy.
Yeah, get acclimated.
Yes, and we were hoping we can maybe get acclimated to the time change, but I don't know that we ever really did because we were sleeping in and then staying up late.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what did y'all do on your third day?
So on our third day, so because we had the kitchen area, we went and we had a rental car. So we went to local Walmart because we wanted to get some supplies, especially because like I have picky eaters, so it was have things that they would eat. And then I had found out, I'd been to Maui a couple years ago, and there's this app. It's called the Shaka Guide. And it's like this tour that you can do of the island. So they have all these different options, and it's like a driving tour, and it's you use your GPS on your phone, and literally this voice just tells you all the different sites to see and all the different places to go. And so they're like, okay, you tell it or you choose where you're going to start, and then you hit start, and it just starts telling you everything about the island. So we did, I think it was called like the North Shore Loop or something. And we just went by all these different sites, and my family really loved the shrimp trucks. So we wanted to make sure to eat like locally there if we could. And they have like food trucks everywhere, and we just kind of followed the guide and went where he said was good. Cause a million downloads can't be wrong. Right.
Right.
But yeah, it was like, okay, stop here and you can go into this beach area. And what was that name of that place? It was like the Fisherman's Hat or something. The Chinaman's Hat. That's what it was. It was like this, because everywhere is about a beach. And we just kind of drove around the whole island and just saw all the sites that we could. We didn't like go into any of the places that I guess people normally do, like Pearl Harbor or any of that. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to see, like, for us, it was like seeing the nature, and trying the cuisine was really important. So we just spent the day kind of like island exploring, and we actually didn't really spend too much that day at all at the resort. We made sure to get home to like go to the pool at night. But other than that, we were just trying to check out everything there was to do in the island. Like see the local places. We put our feet in every beach we could find, and just eat all the food. The shrimp, my family really loved the shrimp. I mean, because from Colorado, we don't get like a lot of fresh fish.
Right.
So yeah, we definitely got some fresh fish.
That sounds so fun. I love it. That app, I'm going to have to link that in the show notes because that sounds like a must-have app.
Yes, I actually, I have a family that is going to Oahu in like a week, and they're staying somewhere else. It's like there's like 20 of them, so there's a lot of them. And that was the very first thing I told them was like, check out the Chakra app, because like it's just they have like 5 or 6 different guided driving tours. They also have walking tours. Oh, cool. And it's just kind of hear some of the history of the places, like it was telling you like, hey, this is where Obama grew up. This is where he went to school, his first job, or just, some of the stories of the culture and of the islands. And I think it helps kind of appreciate some of that too. Not that day, but like we went to this rainforest area. I mean, just all these places, if we had just randomly driven around, we never would have found.
Right.
And very guided and structured. And, you could obviously stop whenever you want, but it even was like, okay, now you can stop here for lunch and here are the places. And yeah, I would definitely, that's the first thing I would do. And check it out beforehand too, just so you can kind of say, oh, like see how much time. Some of them could be like a 6 to 8 hour tour, which is long. But there's some that are just a couple hours, and you can break it down and only do the ones you want to. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that we found that. That was what we probably spent most of our time doing, actually, because I wanted to go and I wanted to feel like see all the that's what I like to do, like see the local stuff, right? Like I don't want to the tourist places. I want to go off the beaten path and be like, wow, that's the cool places to go.
Yes, I love to do that too. Just kind of immerse yourself in the place. And sometimes the touristy places are fun, but yeah, it's also really fun to just really immerse yourself in the culture. Yeah,
and it was, what did they call it? I looked it up. The North Shore Loop is what they called it. And it was a pretty full day. I think it's like, it said 8 to 10 hours, but we kind of, like, we didn't do every stop that we didn't get every stop, but it was just all these different coves and all these different surfing locations and food places. And, like, oh, you can snorkel here and here's the best views. And here's a hike. You could do we didn't do a lot of the hikes. And the storytelling, it was definitely get on that.
That's so cool. Okay, so let's move on to your 4th day. What did y'all do that day?
So that was, I'm trying to remember now. Oh, yes. So that was the day before our anniversary. So we went to, they have something called Koala Ranch. Okay, it's probably not Koala. I'm getting the name. But basically, it's like Jurassic Park. The movie was filmed there. Not just that. Tons of movies were filmed there. And they have all these different tours. So they have like a bus tour where you could see all the locations for all the films that were done there. And then what we did is they had an ATV tour, and you actually drive it. I mean, obviously it's guided, but you just drive through all the hills and the mountains, and they show you all the different locations from all these different movies. I did not know how many movies filmed. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but in Hawaii, like 50 First Dates, they showed us this spot.
Oh, I love that movie.
And then they had this cute little thing from Jurassic Park. They're like, yeah, this is what in the movie they're running down, and here's where they're running down to, and it's just, it was a super fun tour. And then you're in an ATV, so you get to like have a little fun there too. They also have like a bike tour. You can do a similar one where you're pedaling. Those people have got to be in great shape. And yeah, so it's a really popular place. I'm not going to say the name, but if you look up like Jurassic Adventure Tours, you'll find it. And we spent like the whole day there. You can do the ATV tour, then you can get on the bus where they just show you. It's probably like a dozen, more than that, probably like 50 movies. I mean, some of them I hadn't heard of. But if all the Jurassic Park movies were done there, then you had the 50 First Dates. Apparently, Adam Sandler likes to go to Hawaii. And he always makes his movies have to be about Hawaii, so
that's
he can go on
smart.
vacation. Yeah, I mean, actually, I was like, wow, that is brilliant. I wonder how long it took him to figure it out. That was kind of like, one of the more touristy type things we did, but I'm glad we did it because like, I never would have been able to see all that. And just some of the photo ops and the views were just spectacular. And you just, like, we had a local guide who then also put some they're very much like I noticed that on like all the things we did in Hawaii, all the locals like to give you a bit of culture in all of the things you do. So like, we're on this Jurassic Park tour, which is a lot about the movie and stuff. And he's telling us about the history of the mountains and why they were formed that way and some of the stories behind it. And he was like born and raised there. So it was just kind of nice how they combine it. And you find that a lot in every place in Hawaii, which I just think is great because they want you to appreciate their culture. And they're like, this is why you're here. Let me tell you all the things that we have to say. And it was just, I think it makes it's part of that aloha vibe, I guess, right? Like you feel like I'm kind of there with a friend, not just some tour guide. Everyone on the tour was like, yeah, we just all kind of like click and become like this little tour family. So we spent our whole like day and afternoon doing that. And then our common theme was then we would go back to the resort and go to the pool. I don't know why, considering it's so hot, but I always went back to that hot tub. I don't know. I just really like warm water, apparently. But my son, like, he could swim and like we could have been there for 8 days and done nothing but the pool, and he would have been happy.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, kids are just weird like that.
Yes.
Yeah, we always tried to make sure to get back in time to have at least a little bit of swim time. And the pool was open pretty late. It was like 10 o'clock, which is really late for some resort pools.
Yeah.
And it opened really too at like 7.
Oh, wow.
We never made it for that time. But yeah, it did open very early.
That's nice. Especially for families with little kids who wake up early, you can just go to the pool. That sounds great.
There was one, I guess when we talk about tomorrow, there was one day I had to get up early to sign up for something. And I noticed that. And I was just like, I'm just kind of like barely out of bed. And nobody else was up. It was just me. But they had this fish feeding you had to sign up for. And so I was just like, the only ones here were, and like 2-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Parents, really little kids. And I'm just like, oh man, I forgot how little kids wake up so early. That's funny, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so we are on day 5. So what did y'all do on day 5?
So that was our anniversary. And so before the trip, I was I'm in like these Facebook groups, right? Everyone talked about Aulani and stuff. And I would actually recommend there's an Aulani tips and tricks Facebook group. But what I really liked about it is, and you'll see this a lot in the DVC hotels, it's kind of like a sharing. So like I kept checking it for people who were going to leave and they had extra stuff. So like, oh, we have this boogie board. Oh, we have all this soda and stuff like that. And we did get some items. And then we left a lot when we left too, but we got like a boogie board. Or pool tubes. Like I've learned not to buy any of that stuff or bring it. Like I can get it. And either will leave, they'll tell you, hey, we're leaving this day and this is our room number, we're going to leave it outside, or like they'll leave it in the ice, water and ice area. And so we had that day, we actually, I saw in the Facebook group that there was some, and so we got some stuff, and, you know, it was like, woohoo. I mean, it was, you know, it was like random stuff like fruit juice drinks, some soda, and then the pool stuff. But we just felt like, ooh, it was like a cool little treat for us, which is just kind of funny. But also in that group, you know, with the tips and tricks, one of them mentioned Ashley's Sweet Shack. So she's a local who makes cakes and delivers it to Aulani for you. Like, how perfect.
Wow.
You know, I wanted to have a cake for our anniversary, just like something nice. And it was beautiful. Like, you had all these different choices. We got an orange creamsicle cake, which I was not sure. My son chose the flavor, and I was like, "Ooh, this could go bad, or this could be really." And it was delicious. So I had planned on, her husband does her delivery. So he met, at 11 a.m. He met me at the front, and like, here's your cake. And then he was like, oh, so what have you guys done? So friendly, tips, like, hey, you should check this place out or this place out. And, he told us about what did he call it? The Mermaid Lagoon, or the Mermaid Caves. That's what it was. Mermaid Caves. I'm like, I haven't heard about the Mermaid Caves. I even did the Chakra app and it wasn't on there. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, there are some things the locals try to keep under wraps. I was like, oh, okay. So, and it was like 5 or 6 minute drive. It was very close.
Wow.
He's like, you guys should go check it out. And we did. So I got the cake, and, you know, it's like 11:30 and we're going to have a slice of cake, but that's fine. We're on vacation. And, then we went and we checked out the Mermaid Caves, which were just beautiful. I mean, you couldn't go down in them. He said sometimes you can, but it's, you know, based on the tide. And so you weren't trying to get hurt or anything. But you could just see how it was just like these caves in the ocean. And it was just like, we went down in some areas and you could just see how, like, wow, it just floated right in. It was just beautiful. And he's right. We never would have found that if he hadn't mentioned it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And then, so since it was our anniversary, so we did that. And then we went to, I don't know if I'd call it fancy, but we went next door to the Marriott Hotel next door for a steak dinner. And it was really good, which was weird. We went to Hawaii and got steak, but like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Because we didn't actually end up eating too much we didn't eat in a sit down Aulani place. We only ate in like the pool kind of area. We did have reservations for, that day that I ended up canceling. We had reservations for the character breakfast, but I just knew because of the time change, we just couldn't get ourselves together for breakfast. So it was, and we've done a lot of character meals in the past with Disney. So I was like, you know, it's fine. Let's just sleep in. Everyone will be much happier this way.
Yes.
And it was kind of nice. So it was literally just a probably 6-minute walk over to the other resort. So the beach area, there are coves. There's like 3 of them. So if you go down to the coves, there's this walking path, and you can go to the next cove, which is at the next resort. But it was just kind of nice to kind of see, just go for like a little walk and see the other areas. But yeah, gosh, now I'm like, man, is that all we did? But yeah, I guess it's just everything. Yeah, just we spent a lot of time just like enjoying and relaxing and just kind of like being there. And after having done the ATV thing, we kind of was like, okay, relax, do stuff, kind of seemed to be the vibe. And, you know, we were just trying to take a lot of photos and stuff for our anniversary. And I'm just like, yeah, I just want to relax. I want to get running around and doing anything.
Yeah, and I love the vibe of doing stuff and then having a relaxing day. That's so great too, because sometimes if you just go, you're going to be too worn out, and then before you know it, your vacation is over, and you're like, wait, I don't want it to be over.
Well, and it's for us, it's a very different vibe. Like when we go to Disney World, there is no pool rest day for us. Yeah. Like go, do all the things, and we're like ride, and. But they're pretty exhausted. You know, we get home and we're exhausted. So like I knew going in, like I wanted this trip to just be more about like just relaxing and you know, we did have to spend some time in our room where we literally just kind of hung out. So my son could do his homework. So some of that was just, you know, like I would go for a walk and check out the resort while he did that. And you know, that alone, it's just just checking everything out and meeting people and talking to people. I probably spent like a lot of times in the pool, my husband calls it like I'm making friends, but yeah, just talking to people who are there on vacation. And I was surprised how many people are there from the Big Island. A lot of people was California and the Big Island. That's where most of the people were there from. So they're like, Colorado, that's so far. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm here for 8 days. If I'm gonna go that far, gotta make it worth it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of people from California go to Hawaii often because it's probably not that far of a flight.
Yeah, and apparently, at least according to all the local people I talked to, there's a lot of deals too. Or if you're like from the Big Island, it's just like, what did she say? It was like a 20-minute flight, and it was just like, wow. You're just like, and she's like, there's all these deals. She was telling me like you could just buy like a booklet of flights. I don't even know what that means. I'm thinking like a bus pass, and she's like, yeah. And she's just like, yeah, it's just very easy. They like to, they give deals for locals, which makes sense. But yeah, I was surprised. I was like, it just seems weird that you would come here, or even people who are from that island, Oahu. And I was just like, I mean, I guess I never thought about it, but if I lived there, yeah, maybe I would go to a resort.
Yeah, for a couple of days, enjoy the pools and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably like for us in Colorado, people who go skiing and they stay up the weekend there. It's like, why are you doing that? You live in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's convenient than going home every night, probably. Right?
That's true, yeah. And just gets you in that vacation. Like if you can't take a big vacation, it's like a mini vacation.
True. Yes, that would be, that's quite the mini vacation to have.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about your 6th day.
So what did we do? So we actually went back to the app that we were using just to kind of do another tour. We did this, it's called like the backyard rainforest tour. I didn't even realize, like before going there that there was a rainforest there. And so it was kind of weird. We went to Manoa Falls hike, I think it's called, kind of muddy, but like, you don't like, it's like all of a sudden you're driving, you're like, bye son. And here comes the rain and here comes all the forest. And here comes just, it's almost like you went to another island and you're still on the same island, but you just got to see all this kind of different scenery and all these different things. We went to a botanical garden, Chinatown. Every state seems to have a Chinatown. It's weird. There was a National Memorial Cemetery that we went through and checked out. There was shaved ice is really big in Hawaii, apparently. And so there's like some more shaved ice because like I said, we really wanted to just eat, eat locally and try all the foods that we can't get at home. There's like a little marketplace. We didn't buy anything, but like you could buy local fruits and stuff. But by then, we were getting on the tail end of our trip. So we probably should have done that earlier on and then brought it back since we had the vacation thing. But I didn't really think about that. Well, and I didn't want to cook too much on vacation either.
Yeah.
The botanical gardens. And I knew it, but I didn't do it anyway. So right now, because of COVID, you have to like make a reservation and they open up like 7 days in advance, but they book up like, it's like 7 a.m. and then it's like trying to get a boarding group. They open up at 7 and they just go so quickly. And I was just like, I just didn't really want to deal with it, but you can still like go and drive by it. You just couldn't go in it without the reservation. But again, there was just so many pretty things to see. And I think we found like another shrimp truck. My family got obsessed with those shrimp trucks. And then there was some snorkeling. And I don't think and there was the beach turtles. You're not supposed to touch them. You're not even really supposed to go near them. And we knew that from our last trip to Maui. But it was just kind of cool to kind of see them and kind of in their natural habitat. I guess we just don't see that kind of stuff. So we just did like another tour of the island. A lot of our time was spent touring the island, just kind of getting out of our car, walking around, looking at stuff, doing the hikes, and just like enjoying the nature of it. When we went to Maui, I learned that was the fun. We all enjoyed that the most. So I'm like, let's do the same kind of things. Like, let's just see what all is there and enjoy it. So we spent the whole day kind of just touring the island, seeing all those things. And then again, gosh, we really did the same thing. We went back to the resort, did some pool time. My son had to do some more homework. He was really enjoying that part, I bet.
Okay, so let's talk about your 7th day.
So I think, so that's when we did like the East Oahu shoreline, Diamond Head. We were considering doing the hike, but you had to do it early in the morning, and for that time change, we couldn't. It would have been nice, but like the later you would have done it, then it would have been really hot and miserable. Mm-hmm. So instead we kind of we did a driving tour of it. We went and checked out. There's Aulani Park, of course, Diamond Head. So you could still drive to some of the locations, even if you didn't do the hike. So that was kind of what we did. Mm-hmm. We saw, it's called Hanaluma Bay. There's a ton of lagoons and bays, obviously, all over. Like I said, I have a client who's going in like a week, and I wanted to check out the area she was going to be staying in, so I could just kind of get the rundown and have some tips and tricks for her, and like, hey, these are some cool areas in there. So we checked that out, and then we just checked out all the local beaches. And I'm gonna murder the name. It was like Kualua Beach, something like that. I can't pronounce any of these Hawaiian beach names. And then there was this like lookout point where you could see. So you weren't really doing the Diamond Head trail, but like you were going up this mountainside, and then you went to this viewing point where you saw it. It was like, oh yeah, that's really high. But we got to drive instead of walk, which was, nice. So yeah, it was just, there's a lighthouse trail, so many different trails, and they're not all like, when you think trail, you're like, oh God, that's like a couple hours. Mm-hmm. Some of them are just like a really short walk. And we were always trying to find waterfalls. We've learned that in our trip from Maui. We like all the little hidden waterfalls. Mm-hmm. And you can't go into a lot of them. But it was, they're just pretty to see, and we don't have a lot of them around where we are. So we kind of just, checked it out, and we just spent the whole day again, just checking everything out. We didn't go to any other like touristy locations. Mm-hmm. There was we went to all these scenic lookouts. God, now can't remember the name, like Judd Trail, I think one was called. I'm trying to look it up really quick. Like, how do I not remember all the names of these things? Because they just go by so quickly.
Oh, for sure.
All look so similar. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. And they're short. Like I said, maybe they're a 5-minute quote unquote trail. Yeah. And you're like, okay, in Colorado, a trail is like, you're climbing up the side of a mountain and about to die. And like here, it's just like, oh no, this is just a short walk. We call it a trail to the waterfall. Like, oh, okay, well that's just a walk. But okay, if that's what you say. Where else did we go? We went to, so there's a local, just nothing fancy. It was called Monkey Pod. We went and got food there a lot. I really liked a Monkey Pod. I don't really know why. It's like pizza and, just normal food. Mm-hmm. And it's probably like one of the only not like local things. I mean, I think it's like a local chain probably. So yeah, I had to get my local chain. Leonard's Bakery, that's a really popular place to get desserts and stuff. Got too much food. Well, I'm a donut person. Nobody else in my family is, but they're really well known for their donuts. Apparently, yeah. I saw it on like a YouTube, and so I was like, "Oh, we have to do that, right?" Yeah. And then more shaved ice. I don't even remember the name of all of it, but I swear, every 20 minutes you drive by a shaved ice place.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's their Starbucks, I guess. Shaved ice, But they were all really good, and like I said, the flavors were like pomegranate, and like it wasn't just, they were all really like pineapple. I mean, that's a normal one. I can't remember some of the weird names, but I loved the shaved ice. We like had that every day. So we went by the Dole Plantation. We didn't go into it, and like, so you can go into the Dole Plantation and like pick pineapples and stuff. But we just kind of drove by it and around it. I'm not a big pineapple fan, so it wasn't like high on my list.
Right.
But it's really pretty, and just like listening to the history of it was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And like, it's still like operating. I mean, obviously some of it's a tour, but like that's still they're still up and running and producing there. And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
That's really cool.
I never do that. But it's huge. You're just like, wow, when is this going to end? It's just, it goes on for miles and miles and miles.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we spent the day kind of driving around, just looking at all the local stuff, on the Grand Circle Tour, whatever it was called. And then we headed back. My husband made us some dinner. It's like one of the only nights we really cooked. And then literally we went and Mommy did her hot tub time and my son did his pool time, and we just chilled and relaxed. We didn't do that. We were going to go make ears, but we waited too late because it ended at 5. Yeah, forget about it. We got plenty of ears at home. It's fine.
Yeah. So was like driving around the island, was it easy? Was it easy to like navigate when you're on the island?
So yes. So I would say I was a little worried beforehand because I'd heard a lot of things about like rental cars shortages, not being able to find them. I didn't have that problem. And so I don't know, maybe that was like a problem in the summer and I was just hearing about it. But yeah, like, Google Maps and all of that worked. And then the app that we used totally told us where to go. And it wasn't for us, I guess, because we're from Colorado, like there wasn't any difficult mountains to drive or anything like that. And we were there during the week. So when we planned it that way when we were doing our sightseeing was, when people would be at work. So the roads weren't too busy and we didn't have to really deal with traffic or anything like that. But I found it really easy to navigate. And then you could, and I'm sure we didn't have to ask anyone, but like, I feel like nowadays, right, you just look it up on Google Maps.
Yeah, that's nice.
Google Maps work fine there. So we could get wherever we wanted to go. We didn't have any problems. I will say there was a lot of signs and a lot of people said, be careful where you park and with your valuables. So if you're going to rent a car, like we were very diligent to make sure we didn't have anything in the car.
Okay.
They don't leave your purse or phone because people will break in. So we never we had a backpack, and every time we got out of the car, even if it was for a short distance, we took it with us.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And there's signs and people tell you that constantly. So I didn't want to tempt fate. So we just did it.
Yeah, that's good to know. I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Okay. And so y'all's last day, did y'all have an early flight to leave or afternoon?
It was an early, it was an early flight. I think it was like 8 a.m., which I guess isn't like that early, but for us, since we've been sleeping in, it was kind of rough. So yeah, we went to the airport and then literally spent like the whole day flying. And we got, like I said, we got lucky. The first flight was super empty. So we had all the space again, which, man, that just is so nice. It was just like, it's like win, like got the golden ticket. So that was really nice. I will say, and I probably should have mentioned this before, make sure, so I don't, depends on where you're flying, but so they have this Safe Travels program to get into Hawaii where you have to upload your COVID vaccine or a negative COVID test. But a lot of the airlines have something that they call a pre-check. So you do that. Everyone has to do that, right? You go online and upload all your documents. But so if you're doing a direct flight, you would do it at the airport where you're leaving, whatever airport you're leaving to get to Hawaii. There's a line where they'll check your documents and give you a wristband. And then if you have that wristband when you get to Hawaii, you can just show it and you don't have to wait in the long line there of them just checking your document, because that could be an hour wait.
Wow.
Yeah, I had seen that all online and I was like, ooh, that's something I definitely want to make sure that I do. Not have to, who wants to wait in an airport line? And and another thing too, if you're staying in Aulani, there is a lounge at the Oahu airport called Aulani Club Lounge. And so anyone who's staying there can use that lounge. So, I don't know if you always had to, but you have to make a reservation for it. For us, it was too early, so to use it. But I did look into it. And so a lot of people, I saw the photos and the videos and it looked really pretty and amazing. So, yes, if you're staying there, definitely look into that, because if you have to be stuck at the airport, you might as well be in a fancy lounge where you can charge all your stuff and do all the things.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like a little known perk that not everyone knows about. So if you got to be in an airport, be comfortable in an airport.
Absolutely. That sounds really fun. I want to just go there. Like try to book a later flight just so you can go hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what the process is to make sure that you're staying at Aulani because I didn't use it, but yeah.
That's really cool.
It's fancy enough to stay at a lounge in an airport.
Yeah. Okay, so I ask everyone this after their Disney, it's usually a Disney park trip, but what was your least magical moment of your trip?
So, okay, so I guess the least magical moment kind of happened towards the end. I kind of forgot about it. So I got like a rash, and I thought it was like from the beach or something, like, because I'm not used to being in the beach. I'm from Colorado, but apparently it wasn't. I got like a chlorine rash.
Oh, no.
And so I don't really I don't know, right, I guess these things happen. Maybe they must use something different on Aulani than Disney World. So that was a little annoying.
Yeah.
But things happen. It's all cleared up now. So, and I would say, and maybe, I don't know, if you have sensitive skin, and I do, I had never known, but there's products you can use, you take a shower after the pool. And there's products you can use that actually help so you don't get that. And I never knew that. And as someone who likes to go to the hot tub and pools every night, you think I would. So yes, that was kind of like the least favorite thing for me. And my son got a little bit of it too. My husband, not at all. I'd say, yeah, that was definitely my least favorite thing.
Yes, for sure. And what was your most magical moment?
So for me, it was the first night we got there and we unpacked and then we went to the beach and me and my son, we went and we just took off our shoes and walked in the beach, and my husband got a really great photo of us. And it was just it was like we were grounding ourselves with Hawaii, I guess, right? Yeah. We're just putting our feet in the sand and just taking it all in. And it was just okay, I'm relaxed, and this is where I want to be, and this is where I need to be. So just that moment of just kind of being there with my son, it was just really nice.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so sweet.
I think it's those, everyone's like, oh, it's those little moments that really make a trip, some silly thing your kid does or something. You're just wow, that was my highest point probably on the trip.
Yeah, it's always the little things. Always. When I ask my kids after we get home from a vacation, their favorite thing, it's always something I would never have imagined.
It's oh, remember at the pool when you did this or that? I'm no, I don't.
Yeah.
It was all okay, well, that's great. Yeah, it's just the kid who likes the box instead of the present. I'm all right, that's nice.
Yep, for sure. So Aulani is a fairly expensive vacation. Do you think it was worth it?
So I think it's going to depend on your family's interests and preferences. For us, I think it was just because I'm a huge Disney fan. I wanted to experience it. If you love a great pool complex, then for sure you're going to love that place. I think if I was going to go back again, though, because we did a lot of island exploring, I probably would have broken it up. Mm-hmm. So I would have stayed somewhere in Waikiki and done for a day or two and done my exploring, and then done the Aulani stay, because the island is pretty big. So, you're when you're exploring, you're going out for a couple, you're driving for a couple hours and then you're coming back. And so I'm it probably would have been smarter to maybe break up another hotel in there just for that. At least, that's my opinion. But for someone who really enjoys Disney, I think it's definitely the island itself was amazing. The vibe was this mix of fast paced and relaxed. We had the tropical rainforest, the beaches, the very urban vibe. Whatever you're looking for, I think you could access it from Aulani. So you could get like your luxury escape. That's kind of like how come our days were the way they were.
Mm-hmm.
We went out during the day and checked out all the things, and then we went and had our little escape from reality at the resort. And so it was really nice to kind of have that mix. But I think I'd probably mix it up. I like to stay at different places too. So I would definitely recommend it. I don't know if I would say do it for a full 8 days though. If you're going to be there for a full 8 days, I'd say split it up a little bit.
I think that's really good advice. And I have people ask me all the time, have you talked to someone who went to Aulani? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? So I think that's really good advice. If you want to try it, maybe just try it for a part of your trip, not your entire trip.
Yeah. And worth is just really hard to define because it's different for everyone,
That's true.
But I will say there are always deals at Aulani. I don't know what it is. There's always, I think I just saw like a 40% off thing. There's always a deal for Aulani. So yeah, especially if you look at it that way too, if you're staying there for maybe 3 or 4 days and then somewhere else, because I think a lot of people go to Hawaii for like a week because it's kind of far for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it that way too, you could stay somewhere, a little more budget friendly, and then make sure to time it when you get a deal. Then yeah, I don't think, we did get it for a deal. I just didn't want to deal with, moving stuff around.
Right.
Because I knew I just wanted to kind of like relax and let it all go and not deal with any of the things. And I would also say too, if you have little kids, maybe wait until that Auntie's is open because, the prices are still the same.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people I know who have gone, that was a really big draw for them was that it's childcare, and it's kind of like on a cruise, right? You can drop them off and they have all these activities.
Right.
So maybe wait till that is open again. That way, you are getting more of the amenities that they have available.
Yeah, that's
but it doesn't really matter either way.
Right. That's great advice. Okay, so do you have another Disney trip planned anytime soon?
It's funny. So we got back on the 18th. Then on September 28th, we went to Disney World for the 50th. And then, I don't even know what today is. So in like 2 weeks, a week and a half, we're going to Disneyland.
Oh, fun.
Just doing all the things. I usually like to go to Disneyland once a year around my birthday, but we did Hawaii instead.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about Disneyland at Halloween that's just so, I don't know. I'm a really big Nightmare Before Christmas fan, and they do that Halloween overlay in the Haunted Mansion, which I'm obsessed with. Yes. So it's going to be like a 4-day kind of quick trip. But yeah, so I think it's a week and a half we leave again for Disney. It
That's
feels like we
so
just
fun.
I don't feel right. Like there's something wrong in the world if I don't have a trip that I'm planning.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Laura, and telling us all about your trip. You had a lot of great information, and I am going to find out all those restaurant names and link them in the show notes for anyone listening so you can go find them. And I'll also put your contact information if anyone wants to get in touch with you on planning a Disney resort or a Disney vacation.
Well, thanks. It was so nice chatting. I always love to talk Disney with anyone. And it's nice to reminisce about your trip. It's just, oh, yeah. And then you, now I'm happy again, almost like I am planning it.
I hope you enjoyed this show today. I don't know about you, but after hearing Laura's travel tale, I'm wanting to head to Hawaii myself. Don't forget to check out our Instagram page at Disney Travel Tales to see pictures from Laura's trip. Check the show notes for links to the information from the episode and to also get Laura's contact information if you are interested in planning your own Disney adventure. If you are enjoying the show, please consider leaving a positive review on Apple Podcasts. This truly is one of the best ways to help support the show, and it's free and fast. Another way is to share the show with a friend. Listening to others' Disney vacation stories really is one of the best ways to help plan your own trip. So if you know someone who is traveling to Disney soon, share the show. We will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality.